Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Eric Bird, here at StopStrugglingNow.com. And today we have to talk about billionaires again. Look for part one, part two. It's because it's in your best interest to understand economics. That's right, you can get a little bit of economic education now. Why does this matter? It matters because you need to invest, because you have to make money while you are sleeping, while you are doing anything else but working physically yourself. Your money has to make money for you. There's no way around it. But when somebody tries to stop you, you should be paying attention. So therefore, you can't pay attention to lies. You can't pay attention because somebody's a billionaire. They don't have your best interest. It does not align with theirs. So, we're going to go over something that was on Fox Business that I ran across over the weekend. I could not believe what I was hearing coming out this guy's mouth. I won't even say who it is, but you guys have to stay tuned because you're going to have to make business decisions over the next day. How about that? Or the next week or the next month. Either way, you have to invest. So let's get into it, shall we? And welcome. Stop Struggling Now gear. Check. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. Now, let's get to it. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And once again, thank you so much for being here. Please share the videos because people need to know this information. They are getting misinformation, disinformation, just information that moves you because economically, people are out here living paycheck to paycheck, at least 70% of the population. So people are listening to, well, more money's coming out of your pocket. More taxes may be coming out of your pocket. There's this, that, and the other. Well, you need to get it straight because somebody's playing you for a fool. You need to find out who it is. Now, stay tuned. Listen closely. Get your pen, pads, and papers ready. But first, you know where we go. We go over here to the Stop Struggling Now YouTube channel page. That's where we go, the podcast page. What do? We show members of the channel. And who does that? YouTube. Randomly picks a few of our members to show over here on the right-hand side. On the far right is the join button. Why become a member? Well, you see this gear I'm wearing. If you're a member for a year, you always get to pick some gear. Or actually, you get sent gear that I choose. But nonetheless, you still get some gear. Play under the community tab. You receive messages, 1 or 2 messages per month specifically for you. That's where you also receive the message on how you can join me on the live stream. If you want to come and join me on any live stream Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, then you have the link. Also, on Wednesday night, only members with the icon can be in the chat room. They're the only ones. Subscribers cannot. But on Monday, Friday, and any other live stream, anybody can be in the chat room. Now, I'm going to start this thing off because a lot of people have a misconception. Here's what's going on. Billionaires. As of 2024, there are 756 billionaires. All right? Now, with billionaires located in 43 states and Washington, D.C. But here's the funny part. The states without billionaires, Alaska, Delaware, New Hampshire, New Mexico, North Dakota, Vermont, and West Virginia. Simple enough. But this is what you need to be paying attention to. The wealthiest 800 billionaires in the United States own more than half of the country's wealth. You heard it there. Half of the country's wealth. The top 0.1%. Is that crazy or what? That should concern you. Here's the distribution. 62% of the billionaires in the United States live in 4 states. California, New York, Florida, and Texas. I wonder why. Tax implications, weather, and financial districts. Of course, that's where you should be hanging out, right? If you have all the money in the world. All right, here it is. The combined wealth of U.S. billionaires has increased 88% over the past 4 years. Yikes. So now you might understand why somebody might consider unrealized capital gains tax when billionaires have increased, damn near doubled their holdings. Their holdings would look something like 100 million here, 50 million there, 10 million here, 200 or 300 million there, and all of a sudden all of that is double, 88%. Can you imagine? Even 50% of that. Just 50% of a couple of $100 million is $100 million. That's more than 10 people will earn in their lifetime. More than 50 people will earn in their lifetime. More than 100. Just to give you an idea. All right? This is insane. So anyhow, that is something. Now, let's get into, I want to introduce you to somebody. So you're going to have to check out this video that I'm about to play right now. Check it out.
Michigan. Joining me now in a Fox Business exclusive is hedge fund billionaire John Paulson, noted for his famed and lucrative bet against the subprime mortgage market in 2007. He is also one of Donald Trump's most prolific fundraisers. Great to have you here, John. Thank you for coming on.
Hey, thank you, Liz. Great to be here.
Okay. John Paulson, financier, billionaire. You've seen what and who he is just by an intro there, so he must be important. He's on Fox Business. Must be an important guy. Let's go see how important this guy has been in the past, shall we? Yeah. These guys. Trump's treasury pick excelled at kicking elderly people out of their homes. This was Steve Mnuchin, who ran One West. The bank aggressively and in some cases wrongly foreclosed on elderly homeowners with reverse mortgages. The bank had a disproportionate share of such foreclosures. That's right. This is the menace himself that was in an administration of our highest office in the land. That's for starters. But guess who was his partners? In 2009, the owners of One West Bank were members of the investor group IMB Holdco, led by Stephen Mnuchin, the board, former Goldman Sachs partner hedge fund manager. Look at this, Christopher Flowers, buyout baron, John Paulson, the guy on this interview, hedge fund billionaire, Michael Dell, computer billionaire, and George Soros, another hedge fund billionaire. I would not have any one of these guys being in the administration because they're looking out for their best interest. Now, let's get into this other stuff that we have to show you here, because just what they said right here, purchased independent, look at here, National Mortgage Corp, Indy Bank, Pasadena, California for $13.65 billion from the FDIC. All right? Now, all I want to say is there is no exaggeration when somebody has an elderly person and they've lived in their house for 25 years and 28 years, 30 years, and they get a letter from the mortgage company saying, we're going to foreclose on your house. It wasn't just reverse mortgages. This was very bad, ladies and gentlemen. They literally were trying to take and did take these people's homes. You can read up on it. All the links down below for what I'm showing you. You can get them down below in the description box. But let's move along. Let's see what else the young man has to say.
Others would argue, too, you throw in a pandemic and the supply chain snafus, and that really added in great part to the inflation that we saw. This all may come front and center to you because there is chatter that you would possibly be named Treasury Secretary if Donald Trump wins.
Well, it's kind of hard to be unbiased if you're in talks with possibly being in a Trump administration as, heaven forbid, Treasury Secretary. Because they believe policies that are great for them. Because if you own a company, corporation, and you sell to a consumer, and I can tax another country for sending products into the United States, and it comes to my store, and then I raise the price 50%, I can blame it on inflation, which is really tariffs plus my profit. And then you'll say it's inflation because you don't know any better unless you're a part of the SSN Nation. So let's see where this is going, shall we?
Well, I think the middle class is key for this election. And who's going to do better for the middle class? And, when you look at the facts, the Trump policies come out better for the average American.
All right. It went exactly where I thought they were going. But, I can't let it hang like this. Let me show you guys this. Because, of course, after you know about the first endeavor, that they're really a bunch of sharks, let's go to this other part. Because this deficit situation, this trade deficit, this tariff nonsense that these guys keep spouting, and they know that they're spouting a lie, I'm going to start showing you this. This will be a link down below for this as well. Look at this. Because of putting a tariff on other countries, a tariff does not mean that it pays the deficit. All right? What it does is this. America's manufacturing trade deficit from 2017 to 2021 is going to grow. Deficit had grown from $317 billion in 2000 to $648 in 2016. That was evidence. The document claimed that greater levels of trade had triggered a period of slowed GDP growth, weak employment growth, and sharp net loss of manufacturing jobs, which is employment in the United States. Do you not understand losing manufacturing jobs? Manufacturing jobs is what actually you get to have products made in the United States, sold in the United States. When you do a tariff, that means the country that you have tariffs against, they are making more money. And it's increasing the trade deficit here in America. So what will I do? I will go down here and go to the bottom line. In other words, the exact opposite of what Trump and his advisors, including tariff-happy Peter Navarro, said would happen after 6 full years of higher tariffs. This debate is settled. Trump was wrong and his critics were correct. Hiking tariffs does not reduce a country's trade deficit. And by the way, nor does it decrease your overall deficit either. And that's why we had a $7.8 trillion increase to the deficit, the most percentage-wise of all time. Now, you wonder why I get a little upset? Well, there's plenty of reasons, ladies and gentlemen, why I get upset. Because you guys are out here not understanding that policy is hurting you at both ends of the spectrum. Job loss, paying more for products, services that you buy because what did America do? They outsourced a lot of their materials. So an increase with the tariff with Canada, which happened, tariff with China, it happens, tariff with Mexico, it happens. You keep doing all these tariff increases for anything imported into the US, and when you look at the bottom of it, it does not say made in USA. That means the price goes up. So guess who's paying the taxes generated? You don't believe me? Well, guess what? There's always lessons to be learned, isn't there?
Under his administration, the 4 years, average real wages grew about 6.5% during the 4 years. Under Biden, because of the high inflation, real wages have declined from where they were when he started. So that's why so many middle Americans are having difficulty.
Why don't we go look about some of these lessons? 92% of Trump's China tariff proceeds has gone to bail out angry farmers. Oh my, that is one of the fallouts. Look at here. Total tariff revenue from 2018 to 2020, slide over, relief payments authorized in 2020. Relief payments authorized in 2018 and 2019, relief payments to U.S. farmers. What do you think happened? This is what happened. His advisors, such as Peter Navarro, knowing the claim is false, have tried to defend him and the tariffs by arguing that China pays the tariffs indirectly through currency depreciation and lowering export prices. These arguments are also false, as well as illogical, since the advisors also claim that such Chinese behavior benefits China and hurts the United States. This is craziness, ladies and gentlemen. This is crazy. So, when somebody tells you that this is what they're trying to do, you now know this is full-blown blasphemy. It's a lie. Do not believe that it hurts the other country. Here we go. Trump promised angry farmers another $19 billion and $14 billion in September. So anything that happened, the United States, you, the taxpayer, once again, is paying bailout money for some stupid, ridiculous tariff war when everybody knows for the last 100 years, tariffs do not win. Ask Herbert Hoover. Ask the guys that created the Great Depression in the 1930s. Guess what they did? Isolationism, tariff wars around the world with everybody. Well, guess what? People said, we're not going to buy from you. Adios, amigo. We're going to go buy somewhere else. Where are we going to go buy like China did with the farmers? We're not going to buy soybeans from you. We're going to go buy them from Brazil. Brazil is in green. Here's 2017. All right? 2018, all of a sudden, Congress and everybody has to approve the tariffs, right? Look what starts happening. These guys in 2018, they say we're buying from Brazil. The United States farmers, what are they doing? Filing bankruptcy. And now farmers are filing bankruptcy, and now what's going to happen with food cost? Food's going to go up, isn't it? You have farmers going out of business. So now you have a double whammy. Price increases across the board for everything made in China, which is a lot. And that's what we receive. The people here in the United States are paying more. Are you guys getting it yet? So let's see what else this young man has to say. Let's hear what else he's going to be talking about with regard to this. Our future Treasury Secretary, possibly? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, just to wrap this up definitively with regard to this tariff nonsense, check this out right here. What does this actually say? Since 2018, the president has repeatedly insisted that China pays the tariffs he has imposed on Chinese imports. This claim is false. The tariffs are paid entirely by U.S. importers. Again. That tells you who is paying this. All right, so anybody spouting things such as bring down the deficit, bring down the inflation, that's where we'll go next. Check it out.
I would imagine you still see inflation as too high.
I think it's coming down, but the important thing is keeping it down. And to do that, you need to bring down the deficit, bring down inflation, and bring down interest rates.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So, I want you to understand, Mr. John Paulson, he actually said inflation is down to 2.5%. Isn't that pretty good? Especially since we were from 10%, 12%, 15% because of the pandemic. Nobody could leave their house. That means hardly anything can happen. Stores and shelves were empty in some cases because of supply chain issues. What does that tell you? Are you paying attention? This is Stop Struggling Now. This means you have to understand what you should be doing for your future with your dollars. It's going to be very interesting at the end. This is going to be a part 2. It's going to be very interesting at the end here because part 3 will probably be the end. But this part 1, I'm going to end it now because it's been long enough. But pay attention. I'm going to be dropping videos probably all day because it's going to take 3 videos to make this happen. But I'm going to end it with this last mention about what John Paulson wants to say, and then we'll take it up in part 2.
The inflation is likely coming down, and right now the Fed's behind the curve. The Fed rates is between 5.25 and 5.5, and inflation is somewhere around 2.5 and trending lower. So real interest rates are almost 3%, and that's too high. So they should have been cutting well before this next meeting.
Okay. Well, I'm going to leave you with this little clip here because once again, I went over inflation extensively, or deficit, or tariffs, and how they're created and what happens for the American taxpayer and consumer. A deficit means who's going to cover it? You're the taxpayer. You're not getting subsidies. You're not getting anything. You're not getting any tax cuts. You're not getting any tax breaks. And oh, by the way, I should mention something. In the earlier point, they said 6 years of tariffs. That is correct. 4 years under Trump, 2 years under Biden. They have kept the tariffs, the same ones in place. Now, that means there has been an additional trade deficit between China and the United States because of it. So just keep that in mind. So how are you going to pay down the debt and get things back in order? That's why you produce more jobs in America. That's why you stick to the manufacturing jobs in America. That's what offsets it. So then you buy from American companies direct without it coming from across the ocean. And that's why an increase in manufacturing jobs is what they did. And that increases your tax base revenue in the United States properly. And that's how you can pay down your debt. One of the key factors. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. And I know it's hard out here. And it's only going to get very, very interesting. Because in part 2, you got to watch it. because you got to hear what the billionaire says if somebody gets elected and if another person gets elected. It's going to be very, very wild, the explanation. And with all that said, keep your head up, keep moving, and I'm out.